Right, what I was going to finish on there was just Derek Milligan writing on Facebook. One good game. We need to keep it going, which I don't believe we can, to be honest. And I know I'm darting about, but just on Philippe Clement, Keith, I definitely think there's an argument to be made that today's result is the worst thing for Rangers in the long term. I know we get stick for that. I know it's...
Potentially it is, because potentially, and this is what... Who was it?
Derek.
This is what Derek's saying there. I think what he means is, if Rangers just go back to, stuttering and stumbling and losing more points, then all it's basically done is extend this kind of stay of execution for Philippe Clement.
I think there's enough body of evidence to show
that's probably what's going to happen.
Clement's not the man.
Yeah, I think. Listen, you know my views on Philippe Clement. What I would say is that every day being a school day, you've got to learn. You can't keep on making the same mistakes. What he's got to do now, if he really wants to make this more than just a sort of a sticking plaster on his position at Rangers, if he wants to make this a sort of a long-term turnaround, then he's got his team. See that starting team? As near as damn it, stick to it.
Yeah.
You've got your front four, stick to it. Now you can make a change. You've got Danilo in there that can now add something as well. So there can be variations. You can leave one out and bring one in, but don't rip it all up. Because if you do that, then you're going to get another St Mirren and another Motherwell, and nothing much is going to change. But he has to learn that lesson now. He has to identify, and what he did, and where I'll give him his due with today's team selection, I think he realised he had to stay as near as that as possible, and if that meant playing two left backs to keep Sterling in at centre half, who kind of breezed through the game, didn't he? I thought he was really good. Mm-hmm. So I'll give him his due on that. The penny seemed to drop. Mm-hmm. It was almost as if he gave the sports scientists a day off on the basis that, there's no option here. We've just got to go what we'll go. We've got to have a head count before kick-off. Who's standing? Who's fit? Who's ready? Right, you're in. And keep that team as close as he could to the one that was starting to find a bit of a stride just a few weeks ago. That's it for Philippe Clement. That team, and put it out in as many games as you can over a period of time, and you might be able to turn this around. But I just wonder if he's going to learn the lesson, or if he's going to go back to the men in the white jackets and ask for their advice. But
sorry, I know I'm labouring this point, but when you say turn it around, they're not going to win the league this season.
No.
And I think,
no, but his argument has been, I'm playing devil's advocate because I've said I'm long and weary now. I think Clement is making a bit of a pig's ear of it. However, his argument against that will be, look, this is a project. We've always said long term. Aye. There was a lot of slashing of the wage bill required during the summer.
It's a rebuild.
These things take a bit of time. Now, the one thing that I would give him in his defence is, well, okay, but if this is what you want your Rangers side to look like, because it is pretty good and it looks pretty decent, and if this is what you've always had in your mind's eye and you haven't just stumbled across it and you've identified that this is clearly your best way forward, then stick to it.
Yeah.
Stick to it. Because if you can't identify that Cyril Dessers is going to weaken your team, if Kieran Dowell is going to weaken your team, if you can't identify that taking Nico Raskin out of it and Czerny out of it and Egerman out of it is going to significantly weaken, then it's his judgment that's flawed.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting bit. What happens next for Rangers?
The 15th of March is when Celtic and Rangers will meet again. I'm already counting the days.